Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I wanted to talk about the Umbra Initiative gear set. Umbra has the potential to do an extraordinary amount of damage, but there are so many variations and different ways of setting it up. So I don't use Umbra as often, in fact Striker is my go-to, but if any of you have been on the fence about trying Umbra, here are two powerful Umbra builds that will work extremely well for you. Of course, Umbra won't be near as good as Striker, but Umbra is still a very powerful and fun gear set to use. It does require a stealthier playstyle, but if you're getting tired of Striker and looking to explore other options, then these two Umbra builds will honestly be the only Umbra builds you need for any content in the game. So, this first build really packs a punch, and it's a great alternative to Striker, at least in my opinion. However, I'm going to be transparent with you, it also lacks a great deal of survivability. So, if keeping your distance and playing tactical with an all-red DPS build isn't your playstyle, then you may find it difficult to stay alive with this build, especially if you're running legendary missions. But it really does make clearing through legendary missions a lot easier, as long as you're playing smart and utilizing the cover-based shooter mechanics. So your playstyle basically needs to be super stealthy, and by keeping in cover as much as possible, you will only be getting stronger because you will be building stacks. This isn't a run-and-gun playstyle gear set by any means. And aside from the amazing damage you can put out with Umbra, there is also a self-healing capability that you get from entering cover after taking damage, which is really helpful since this build does lack survivability. And I'll explain how that self-healing works, as well as how to properly use the Umbra gear set. Just for those who may not know, because Umbra can be slightly confusing at first if you've never tried it before. For the primary weapon, you do have a few options here, but I'm using the Saint Elmo's Engine Exotic Assault Rifle. I just find this weapon super amazing, not only because of its great accuracy and stability, but also for its decent base damage and talent. So for those who don't know, you do get shock rounds once you reach 100 stacks with this weapon, and shooting an enemy will give you 1 stack per bullet. Now as far as other options, the capacitor, eagle bearer, and even the iron lung all work great. However, the second Umbra build that I'll be showing you next will work better with the capacitor. So this is of course a 4-piece Umbra build, and by having the Umbra vest, max stacks from the gear set bonus will increase from 50 to 100, which helps increase the overall weapon damage. So the Umbra vest plays a big role in the overall damage. For the backpack, 1-piece grupo for the 15% bonus critical hit damage, and the talent vigilance for an added 25% weapon damage. The companion talent is another great option if you don't like vigilance, but you will be losing 10% weapon damage, so I'd go with vigilance if I were you. For the gloves, 1-piece Fenris Group AB for the 10% assault rifle damage bonus, but a Walker Harris piece would also work well, since 1 piece gives 5% weapon damage. And for all the gear pieces, I have critical hit damage and chance rolled for the attributes, with 4 weapon core and 2 armor core for a decent balance, but feel free to go all red with this because you will only be dealing more damage. For the stats, critical hit chance is maxed out at 60% with 161.6% critical hit damage. For the weapon specialization, I'm using Technician for the extra skill tier to help out a bit with the booster hive and decoy duration, but feel free to use Gunner or Firewall if you'd like. I'm using the booster hive because it really helps with weapon handling, but it isn't a requirement, so feel free to use whatever skill suits you better. The reviver hive may be a better option if you are playing solo. I find that the ballistic crusader shield helps a lot in PvE as well, especially for legendary missions. So yeah, this Umbra build will work great in the Dark Zone and for PvP, but this next Umbra build that I'm about to show you is my favorite for PvP, and it has just a little bit more survivability. So for this build, I'm using the Ninja Bike Exotic Backpack and Picaro's Holster, and for those who don't know, the Ninja Bike Backpack acts as the additional piece required to fulfill a gear set or brand set's bonuses. So this exotic backpack basically allows me to get the 4-piece Umbra bonus from having just 3 pieces of Umbra equipped. This is actually extremely good, and it gives you the opportunity to squeeze more attribute bonuses on your build, making it the perfect piece for putting together some amazing hybrid builds. For the gloves, I decided it would be better to go with Walker Harris instead of Fenris since I'm wearing the Ninja Bike backpack. Thanks to the Ninja Bike Bag, I will be getting not only 5% weapon damage, but 5% damage to armor as well from the Walker Harris gloves. And I'll gladly take the 5% damage to armor over the 30% reload speed from Fenris Group. So yeah. Now for the primary weapon. I'm using the capacitor, but the Saint Elmo's engine is also another great option. But since I have 3 skill tiers on this build, my capacitor will be getting a nice 22.5% weapon damage increase thanks to the weapon talent capacitance. So for those who don't know, for each skill tier you have, you will gain 7.5% weapon damage. The capacitor is a very powerful assault rifle and is truly a must-have, and if you don't have this weapon, it can actually be attained very easily. One way is by playing through Summit and completing challenges. For the stats, 58% critical hit chance and 100 and 33.7% critical hit damage. For the secondary weapon, you can use whatever you'd like. It really doesn't matter because you will mainly be using the capacitor for the most part, and this build should also work great for PvE. Now, one of the major pros of the Umbra Initiative gear set is the self-healing function from having the 4-piece set bonus. You see, Umbra is a cover-based, reliant gear set, meaning you will need to be in cover to receive the benefits from it. While in cover, you will gain 10 stacks per second up to 50. Each stack will give you a 1% critical hit damage increase, as well as a 0.3% RPM increase. However, in order for this buff to apply, you will need to be out of cover, so essentially you go in cover to build your stacks and momentarily leave cover to deal out damage. While out of cover, stacks will degrade similar to Striker, and you will lose 2 stacks per second at normal speed and 1 stack per second if sprinting. Now, to get the self-healing from Umbra, you will need to go into cover after taking damage. And while out of cover and in combat, you will gain 10 stacks per second up to 50. Each stack will give you 0.8% armor regen when it is consumed, and 10 stacks get consumed per second only in cover. So if you take a look at the status bar on my screen, this green icon with the white bird is the self-healing stacks, and it will fill up when you've been out of cover for some time. So I'll just take damage and get back in cover. And now, as you can see, the stacks get consumed and my armor goes up. So this icon next to the self-healing icon on the left side is for your damage buff stacks. So just make sure that you are out of cover when firing for this buff to apply. And for the self-healing, you will need to be out of cover, just for a short moment to build your healing stacks, then going back into cover will consume the stacks which will heal you. And there you have it. If you made it to the end of the video, you are legendary. This is Prajna, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. And if you're new to the channel, welcome and consider subscribing and becoming a member so you don't miss out on any member exclusive videos and perks. I know some of you guys would like to see a walkthrough of my character customization, and I will consider making that into a member-only video in the near future. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. In the meantime, keep it cool, keep it classy, and see you in the next video. Peace out.